my god, it just sounds like a jumbo jet that's about to take off.
Renault has a rich history of doing mad things with concept cars, and the Zoe E-sport you see here is surely one of the maddest of them all. It's powered by 2 electric motors, one at the front, one at the back, that give a combined equivalent output of 460 horsepower and 640 Newton meters of torque. The E-sport's beautifully blistered body shell is made from a mix of plastic and carbon fibre, while its chassis is a bespoke aluminium frame that is far lighter and stronger than that of a regular Zoe. Even so, with a 450 kilogram battery pack mounted in the floor and boot at the back, the E-sport weighs a relatively chunky 1400 kilograms. But with all that power and torque, and the instant throttle response that comes from a pure EV powertrain, the E-sport can still hit 60 miles an hour in just 3.2 seconds, says Renault, and then whispers its way to 130 miles an hour in just 10 seconds. And this, albeit briefly, due to the fact that the juice runs out very quickly indeed if you gun it hard, is what that feels like from behind the wheel.
Right, this is definitely the maddest electric hot hatch on the planet. In fact, it's the only proper electric hot hatch on the planet. And they're not going to make this car, be in no doubt about that. It's just the concept exercise to prove what Renault can do with their electric powers and powertrains in the future. There might be something like this in a good few years' time, but in the foreseeable future there will not be anything like it. But you have to love Renault for building a thing like this in the first place. And I think only a company as mad as Renault and Renault Sport would build a car like this in the first place. It's a total silhouette car. The chassis it's just a lightweight frame basically. All up, it weighs, as we've said, 1400 odd kilograms. But the best bit is that it has 400, the equivalent of 460 horsepower and 640 Newton meters of torque. Motor at the front axle, motor at the rear axle, so it's 4-wheel drive. You can turn it into front-wheel drive if you want, but we've got the full beans of all-wheel drive now. It is absolutely roasting in here, as you can probably see from the sweat that's rolling down my face, but it's 36 degrees outside and these batteries get so hot in here. I'm just gonna tootle around in it for the time being. That's the diff at the back that you can hear trying to eat itself to death. I'm not going to go quickly just yet because there ain't much juice left in it, unfortunately. It just feels surreal even at these kind of speeds. It's just oh my goodness me, listen to that diff. That's a little bit of beans. That's a lot of beans. Flipping hell. It goes when you put your foot down, alright? It really goes when you put your foot down. It's just this instant hit of torque that you get out of these electric cars, particularly ones that are this small and have this much poke. There's just nothing else quite like it. It's brilliant. But okay, it weighs 1400 kilograms, but that's still not much. Not when there's 460 horsepower under your right foot. Okay, I'm going to go a little bit quicker now. Try a little bit harder. Oh, the noise, it's just the noise it makes, it's just surreal.
The E-sport's powertrain is cooled by a front-mounted radiator that not only helps chill the batteries, but also the car's various control systems, just as in a Formula E car, and that's where much of the E-sport's thinking and technology is derived from. In reality, the E-sport is not much more than a technological experiment that just so happens to look like a hot hatch, but as you can see, it's some experiment.
The performance of this thing is, they reckon, 0 to 62 in 3.2 seconds. And 0 to 130 miles an hour in 10 seconds. That is proper quick. It understeers a little bit for sure. Oh, rides the curbs nicely though. understeers. When you get back on the power, it wants to understeer, and it does understeer. Really stops well. And then when you back off, you've got all this energy and weight which you can feel transferring itself to the back. It has got proper lift off oversteer, this thing, but then it understeers as well. I have to be honest, it's not that well set up, but I haven't set it up to do this kind of thing. It's just, it's a toy, it's a concept, it's an idea of what the future could look like. But as a kind of little glimpse into the future, I mean, what is not to like? 4-wheel drive, 460 horsepower, all that performance, and pretty much zero emissions. Oh, I hope they make something like this in the future. I really do.
So that is the Zoe E-sport driven, albeit briefly. And as we've already said, this car is nothing more than a showcase at the moment, a glimpse into what might be achievable in years to come. Although it's a bit weird to drive to begin with, and definitely needs some fine-tuning of its chassis for sure, the potential for something very special is undeniably there. And apart from anything else, as a styling exercise alone, the E-sport is well worth its weight in lithium iron. Yeah, we'll have more cars that look like this in future, Renault please.